Well, hello, everybody. Again, my name is Kim Daly. Thank you for joining us this morning. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to learn a little bit about our Echotrac E20. I'm going to start out, and then in a few slides, I'll turn it over to Christian, and he'll talk to some technical points for you. This is the E20, and more than 40 years of experience went into the development of this system. We really took the time to look at what was best in our existing line of Odom sounders. We asked our customers for feedback, added some of our multi-beam technology to push the performance above and beyond what our customers would expect. And of course, we're always open to feedback, and we really consider all suggestions from our customers. And our goal is to help our customers by providing a quality product that's easy to use, rugged, dependable, all those things that you've come to expect from both the Odom and the Rezon brand. The E20, there are three models that you can choose from, right? The traditional single and dual channel. And then we have an extended range for up to 6 kilometers. For those people who work in really deep water. All right, so outside of the performance, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how the E20 looks and feels, right? So we have a new current design that's really substantial, and we know that the marine environment is really a harsh environment. Equipment is, thrown into the back of a pickup truck and carried for miles down the road, put in a survey boat, and driven down the river for miles. And so it's a really rough environment. We built the E20 to withstand. We built the E20 to withstand that rough terrain and the rough survey environment. So you see that blue bumper? That is the EPDM rubber, and it protects the unit from small bumps and even drops. Plus, it's a very nice non-slick surface. You can set your laptop on top, or it doesn't slide around on the boat deck. And while we don't, encourage anybody to mistreat their survey gear, we do know that it does happen. And so, the E20 is really rugged and, of course, watertight IP67.
Hey everybody, this is Christian. So the main features of the E20, the job of a single beam echo sounder, and I tell people all the time, people say, oh, it's a fish finder. No, it's not a fish finder. It's a survey grade piece of equipment. Its job is to lock onto the bottom, find a good bottom, and stay on it without any noise in the water column kind of interfering with its ability to track the bottom. One of its main features and its upgraded features is the algorithms that it's using in the board itself to do a better job with bottom detection. There's a lot of improvements with the E20 with respect to that. It's got a built-in test environment. It's got the bite control inside of the board, dual channel. You can opt for the extended range. I don't know too many people that need that extended range, but it's got a heck of extended range for your deeper depths. Single beam echo sounder user interface. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the screens that you'll be looking at real time when you've got this out in the field. And then all the standard data output formats. We'll talk more about that, but you've got your DBS message. We're talking about the NEMA messages. You've got DBS, DBT, and then you've got the S7K format that most people are gravitating towards now because it's the binary format that comes over an Ethernet cable. So it eliminates the need for all these cables being all over your boat. And then you've got the automatic operation mode, which is a new mode that they've put in the E20 now, where you can, kind of set it and forget it. May be good for some users. Here's the performance of the E20. And we've all seen these, as hydrographic surveyors, seen a lot of these spec sheets. So the one notable thing on this spec sheet here is that with the E20 and some of these transducers that are spec'd out for 200 kilohertz or 33, you're getting more range with the new sounder with respect to your max depth range. The previous sounders, I believe at 200 kilohertz only had a 200 meter range, and with the new E20 you're getting 50 meter additional range. That's an improvement with this new E20. Okay, and this is just showing that you got single channel and dual channel depth ratings, and then you've got the extended range down there at the 12 kilohertz. You know, if you've got a 12 kilohertz transducer and you're trying to go down that deep, please give me a call. I want to know what you're doing because it sounds really interesting. So here's the echogram that we're going to be looking at real time when we have the E20 in action. You know, it's a little bit different than the eChart or the image software. It's rewritten, and the buttons are laid out really nicely across the top where you can toggle between the channel 1 and channel 2, increase the brightness. You can annotate the screen, take bitmap images, snapshots of the screen, record video, and then you've got all your settings and operation modes on the left-hand side. So this is what I call the bottom track, the signal trace, the amplitude signal, and of course your depth over on the right-hand side. So it's really nicely giving you all the information in front of you as you're surveying. So now you have the SBES user interface. When you go into the software, it's going to guide you through the steps to get your E20 interface to the PC and get it set up for collecting soundings. Here, you're going to choose the echo sounder at the appropriate IP address. Okay, it'll be selected, and you'll select it in a drop-down. You've got your transducer channel A and B. Okay. Here's where I was telling you about how you can choose your specific transducer. Like I said, there's a list of over 40 of them there. Then down you have your draft, your sound velocity, your units of measurement. Below that you have your sonar time synchronization, whether you've enabled the GPS and the time sync for PPS. Okay. And then you can restart the echo sounder with software down at the bottom left. All right, here's a neat feature about the E20 is you can bring in NEMA position data and motion data. This can be used as a pass-through in some software packages. So if you've got all of this equipment plugged into the unit itself, software can now redirect it and send it over the network. Okay, getting ready to start surveying, we've got this GUI where you can set up to survey or to do a bar check, and it's all laid out in kind of like a wizard fashion, so to speak. The mode down below, if you'll see under just below operation mode, you've set up on deck, and then you have that bar check routine. Right? That bar check routine, believe that's going to get an update at some point. However, it's real important to surveyors to run that routine to verify that the sounder is calibrated to depth. So that's inclusive here inside of the sounder. There's 3 different modes that the sounder can go in: automatic, semi-auto, and manual. The annotation for the echo sounder, this annotation can come directly from the user in the user interface here for the E20 by hitting the marker button, or it can be annotated by your software package and annotated with like a function key with your software. I know, for instance, HiPAC, you can set annotation back to the echo sounder, and it can annotate based off distance and time. So that's helpful. The actual image that you get in the software does a great job with seagrass and maybe what some would call an unconsolidated bottom until you get to one. Okay, and what I mean by that is you have seagrass above an unconsolidated bottom. So it's easily definable here. And like I mentioned earlier, it's the sounder's job to digitize and find the bottom and lock onto it. However, the full signal amplitude is being collected continually. And you'll see that here in the real-time image for both high and low frequency. Okay, just another example of seagrass sticking up on the bottom. And we can digitize this in post-processing as well. If we want to make seagrass inclusive of the data set, the data will be there. Okay, here's some noise in the water column from another echo sounder perhaps. So here again, its job is to lock onto the bottom. So it's ignoring all the noise. So wash under a transducer, some cavitation, some prop wash, some aeration, it's getting down through it. At the end of the day, we're just looking for a good bottom track and contour mapping and repeatable data. We're all used to producing these maps and really want this sounder to do a good job for us, and it does. As an example of that is, and I've never really seen a shipwreck surveyed with single beam before to this level of visual quality. This was passed to me, and it's of a shipwreck, and it's of a long track down the long axis of a ship with a 233 kilohertz. So on the left-hand image, you can see that with that long track, that it's got far more detail. Obviously it's a narrower beam width. You have a smaller footprint on the bottom. So it's showing a higher level of detail than the 33 kilohertz. But the 33 kilohertz really shows that seabed and maybe penetrates down a little bit more to show you resolution on the type of bottom that you may have where it's resting on. So looking at the left-hand image, hitting it with 2200 kilohertz, I can see that around that ship, it looks to be scouring around on the sides of it a little bit. Well, in the 33 kilohertz, maybe that's just a softer bottom perhaps, or different type of ping. So it's a different way to interpolate the data by playing the two frequencies against each other. And then of course the 33 kilohertz, with being the footprint being so big, it doesn't capture as much detail as the 200. But I just thought this was a really neat image of a single beam shipwreck. So kudos. This is a little video here that shows in the user interface that you can toggle between channel 1 and channel 2. I kind of sometimes say high and low frequency, that's trying to steer away from saying that's channel 1 and channel 2. And in the Q4 update for the E20, what they're working on doing is being able to display them both at the same time, so you don't have to toggle them. You can see the difference in the channel 1 and channel 2 swap as this video plays along. You can really see that that lower frequency transducer penetrating that bottom, getting more signal down through it. Okay.
So we've worked with all the big software companies on building drivers for the E20. And so all of these on the screen here, IVA, BeamWorks, QPS, our own Teledyne PDS, Chesapeake, and HiPAC, we're all compatible now. And so that's a great thing for all of our existing customers for sure. And this is one of the cool things about the E20 too, is that it is easily integrated into, everybody loves the remote control autonomous vehicles now. That's the big thing. And so these are the ones, the manufacturers that we've worked with closely here recently, and the E20 has been installed in all of these vessels. And it makes it a really versatile piece of kit, right? Because you can put it on your big survey vessel, and then you can take it off of there and put it on one of the autonomous vessels if you need to. So it's a pretty good all-around hydrographic survey tool at a really affordable price as well. So I just got this list a couple of days ago, and this is what will be included, these things at least in the Q4 update. So you're going to have greater access to the range, gain, power, etc. settings in the sounder where those were restricted in some regards before. You'll have blanking. That's a big one that a lot of people have asked for. Now annotations available on the bar check mode, and I believe you'll be able to save those settings in the bar check mode. Well, that's the next one, right? Save, restore configuration option. You'll be able to see both dual and the single frequency in one window. And a lot of people over in APAC and Latin America still use the printer, and that's why the Echotrac 2 was so popular. So we've come up with a printer solution. It's gonna use a commercial off-the-shelf printer, but there'll be an interface, so that'll be easily used now and solve that problem. Manual gates and automatic detection and configuration of serial sensor interface. So all of those will be included in this Q4 update. And I always like to include this slide because it's really important. Teledyne as a whole, our value proposition, we want to assure people, our customers, that they're working with the right team. We have a lot of engineering and a lot of support that stands behind our products, not just the Odom brand, but all the Teledyne Marine brands. Just thank everybody for calling in. I appreciate it, and please reach out if you have any other questions that if I can't answer, I'm happy to get David to chime in, and I'm sure he'll have the answers. And Christian, thank you so much for joining in as well. You were a huge help.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day and keep pinging away.
Teledyne Marine, everywhere you look.